Hey guys, I'm Jason, otherwise known as HC Airsoft, and today we're going to be taking a look at my 2017 Gas Blowback Field and CQB kit that I decided to just kind of rearrange to how I usually play. Not going to be using the plate carrier a whole lot anymore, and definitely I'm going to be preferring the mobility and use that a chest rig centered kit would allow me. So before we get any further in talking about the gear itself, let's just quickly go over the main replicas I use. Starting with what's on my chest here, I'm going to unclip this from the 1-point sling. This is my tried and true WE HK416C gas blowback rifle. No modifications done to it. The only thing that it has is an RA Tech negative pressure adjustment system. And the hop up, I finally was able to set that to where it gets me about 120 feet of good range. Other than that, it would have too much hop, so not a whole lot of range out of this airsoft gun. But this kit definitely does prompt me to be a lot more aggressive in my playstyle. So this is just one of my two gas blowback rifles. Let's switch over to my WE SCAR, and we'll take a look at what I have going for that. Alrighty guys, so here's the WE SCAR. I have right here the M3 Lite for pretty aggressive CQB play. Because of the length and the fact that I put the biggest damn flash hider I could find on it to give it a really cool menacing look. It's actually a Mark 17 flash hider, so it's going to be the 7.62 variant of the SCAR H. That's the flash hider of origin, if you will. I would also run the contour camera right here, either facing out or in, depending on if I'm playing indoor or outdoor. Indoor, I would most likely be having it face towards me, something I haven't tried yet. I've only just tried having the face cam, but I decided, hey, too many dudes on YouTube, too many YouTube celebrities do that shit. I'm just going to have to go ahead and make my own style of gameplay, if you will. But essentially, right here I have the Magpul RVG. Pretty much the same setup. I'm sharing a lot of attachments, just no dummy pec box, although I probably would put it on just for looks. But because it's actually lighter than my WE HK416, it allows me to move a lot faster. But because of the length, both with the stock extended and the fact that I have a giant flash hider on it, the need for this kit is to play more conservatively, especially in indoor arenas, due to the fact that I don't have a lot of wiggle room, and I would have to be transitioning to my sidearm a lot. And speaking of which, I run a multitude of sidearms. Right here on this kit, just for example, is my WE 226. I also have a Tokyo MARUI 5.7. And I have a WE 1911 with way more mags, and those additional mag pouches would go here. But I do not have the proper color for this kit. I mean, then again, I am running M81 Woodland Multicam and AOR2 on this kit, so what the hell does the color matter, right? And that would bring us a close to our replicas used in this kit. We're going to go ahead and start off with the gear and finish with what I'm wearing on my feet. Alrighty, so my brain bucket here, super hot, probably greasy and sweaty right now, but my brain bucket is just a Lancer Tactical Emerson kind of copy. It's the lower quality model, so it creaks a lot, and it definitely occurs very noticeably. The creaking occurs very noticeably in the head cam videos. Definitely looking to replace it sometime soon. Possibly also going to have to change out the mount where I have my camera, because I actually super glued this on just to be safe, and I'm also going to have to pick up a new set of ESS iPro. I love the ESS iPro, it's just that after a while it will fog and it will not be as useful as it did when I first purchased it. This actually is about 5 years old, so the fact that it only just started fogging this year is quite impressive. And of course, I would also be using a half mask or Shemagh. Shemagh definitely to have neck protection and all-around neck protection for indoor CQB play. It gets super hot though, and considering how I actually have less drastic injuries outside in outdoor play, I just don't use the Shemagh, and if optional, I don't use a lower face mask to help me be more mobile. And of course, I am taking a big risk, but it is in the name of having more fun, aggressive play, and if there's no risk, there's no fun. So moving on to what's wrapped around here is my CONDOR 1-point sling. It's a bungee sling. so it's appropriately positioned so that I can just weave it through my arm and then have it over my head like this. The only problem being that is if I'm not wearing a shemagh, it will dig into my neck a little bit, but most often I just detach my gun as soon as the game starts and I'm using it. I only really reattach my gun if I have to carry something, or if I'm out of ammo to transition to my sidearm. I would just put the gun back over here. After all, I'm not using any of my rifle mag pouches if I have my gun just completely centered over my body. And that brings us to close on the sling. Just getting the gloves out of the way here. These are Mechanics Originals in medium. They're a little bit too big for me. They're my father's after all. But I actually just kind of like put them around the mag tab right here. Actually, I'm very surprised in how secure it actually is. But I would not play a game where I have my gloves right here around the mag tab with the bungee loop right here. So that pretty much covers those gloves. The chest rig is a pretty shit chest rig, but I mean, it fits my style of play well, and I'm not going to be going and actually ripping up the quality of the chest rig because the quality is just fine. It's made with, what's it called, 500D Cordura. It's the same quality that LBX and Condor uses to make their stuff. For $36, I guess you get what you pay for. If you want to run a similar chest rig with mag pouches already built in like this, consider probably Condor stuff, honestly. Condor or TMC if you can get the China gear, if you want a replica gear. I don't know what this is a replica of. They just call it the Emerson Easy Chest Rig. Not sure if I already mentioned that, but I should have included that in a subtitle in the clip as soon as I introduced the chest rig. I have my WE-M4 mags here. In this pouch I have my 20-round mag. I always start off the game with a 20-round mag. However, with this chest rig setup, this would be more like a last resort kind of option with the 20-round mag. Then I have 4 30-round mags, and this I hear on my BAOFENG radio. And linking through it, I have my push-to-talk mic just kind of sliding under my chest rig, and it's completely out of the way from my magazine pouches, and it's super convenient. Like, these mics are also super easy to replace, and they're super cheap in case they do get shot out. And I really do love the BAOFENG radios. But anyway, right on my right side, I have Israeli-made holsters holding all 3 of my replicas. I have the FOBUS series holsters. Super cheap. They're like 15 bucks. They're amazing holsters. They just use a sort of retention system that is similar to Kydex. They just kind of click in there in place, and they're super easy to take out. The only problem is, since the WE HK416C isn't exactly 1-to-1 scale, I did have to break it in a little bit, and it means that my my actual holster is no longer as secure as it should be with my HK416. With my other replicas, my 5.7 and my WE 1911, they fit perfectly in the FOBUS holsters made for those. And I would be running AOR2 mag pouches, but for now, this is a more or less a placeholder. These black belt-mounted mag pouches, which are quite shit, honestly. They're made by Condor, and they're about $5 just because I got them on Amazon, and they hold 2 pistol mags, just regular double-stack pistol mags, or I squeeze in 4 WE 1911 mags. Alright, moving on here on my belt, which in case I haven't mentioned verbally, and I haven't, it's just a standard USGI belt. It's a government issue uniform belt used by the Army and Air Force for their utility uniforms. But moving past that, I have my Phantom Gear multicam dump pouch. Super useful, put miscellaneous items in there like screwdrivers, my barrel bag, and gloves if I decide to take them off. It's too hot that day. Stuff them right in the back, and I don't have to worry about them falling out because the retention inside this dump pouch is super good. And of course, you dump your empty mags in there. My combat uniform is on the top. I'm wearing ROTHCO M81 Woodland combat uniform. I don't necessarily like the Mandarin collar too much, although it really does help if you're running a 1-point sling. I'm not going for any specific like Navy SEAL type look. The camo is cool, but you'll also find me wearing other stuff. I like to wear my 511 soft shell black jacket, which is fine because I just usually wear that jacket for everyday kind of cold weather use anyway. and I really like just kind of messing around with kits. In fact, you'll probably have noticed that on all my HK416 and all my SCAR videos, I've rearranged attachments like 80 different times, I swear. For the 416, probably 8, but for the SCAR 8, or excuse me, not SCAR H, the SCAR L, probably about 72 times, making a grand total of those 80 times that I mentioned. And guys, right here you can see that I have my Belleville boots. These are pretty much US Air Force ABU boots. I also have the US Army version, which come in tan. These sage green boots are definitely more preferred for watery, muddy environments because they are waterproof and they are a lot more warm. Well guys, subscribe to keep me motivated to keep on doing this kind of stuff, and definitely subscribe. Just kind of get the word out there. I'm trying to separate myself from other airsoft players and definitely trying to make a name for Maryland Airsoft and Airsoft in the Mid-Atlantic. So it would be super useful if you guys would go ahead and share this video just to kind of spread a good positive message for the airsoft community. Well, I'm Jason from HC Airsoft. Take care, guys.